Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Alicyn's Wonderland. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Tonight we have a very special guest. I know I say that every week, but I'm very excited because Melissa Hutchison is going to be our guest tonight. And I've had the opportunity to know Melissa and work with Melissa for about 5 years now. Not only is she an amazing voice actress, but she's an amazing person too. So I'm so excited to start this interview. I'm sure that we probably have a lot of Melissa fans joining the stream. So in case you guys don't know, down at the bottom of the screen, there's a little question box. So if you have questions for Melissa, feel free to type them in and we'll try to get to them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add Melissa. And get this train rolling. Hey, Jeff, it's good to see you. MC Spicy Dan, thanks for joining. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. Yay.
How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I have to show you. I don't think you've met Maple.
No.
This is my disclaimer portion of getting to chat with you, which I'm so happy about, is if you hear barking.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's just the Chihuahua.
Hey, Chihuahua's
Hi.
welcome. Chihuahua's
Yay.
welcome.
It's so good to see you.
You too. Welcome to the Wonderland.
Yay. Happy to be here.
Maple. I know. Does Maple also have a fan page?
She does.
Does she really?
On Instagram, it's at Tiny Maple Marie.
Now, is that run by you or is that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
okay.
Yeah. I'm not very well, unfortunately. I am not so great at the socials. So I've been slacking on her page, but whatever. She does have one.
I know. It is. You always have the best intentions about creating the right vibe for your pet dog, or like in our situation, our trailer has its own social media page.
Oh.
So, but I'm always lacking on that as well. But it's fun just to have a little side project that's just like for fun.
Totally. Is the lighting okay? I'm only asking just because this is one thing that the pandemic has taught me is if you paint your walls yellow, it makes for really, are we allowed to curse a little bit on this?
Yeah.
Really shitty lighting. But if I turn it on, if I turn this light on, then it's like, so anyways, I just wanted to double check.
I think you look beautiful.
Thank you. So do you. It's so good. I know we've been able to actually talk on the phone and communicate with each other recently, and it's been good because I've definitely missed you. So
I miss you too. We used to get to see each other like every week. And
all the time.
It's been a long time. So
it has.
Well, cheers, girl.
Yeah, cheers. Oh yes, look at that.
Very festive. It's actually an apple pie drink, martini. I'm not sure exactly.
Oh,
and sugar on it too.
I thought you were going for the kombucha.
The hard kombucha. I know, but we were out.
This is just bourbon. It's like all I had. Cheers.
Anybody else want to join at home too?
Cheers, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi.
Thank you guys for joining in. I can see we have a lot of Melissa fans here, so thanks, guys. A little bit about the show. It's called Alicyn's Wonderland. This is actually the third incarnation. It started as a web series in 2007, and then it became a podcast, and we almost had you on like 3 years ago or something. Well, maybe more than that at this point. And we just rebooted it last month. Hi, Sam, as an Instagram TV show. So hello, low-hanging fruit, super easy to do, and perfectly pandemic-proof because we can be talking in our own separate worlds.
Totally. Yeah, it's been for all the complaining I do about social media. Let me finish that with some positive. It has been really cool, and especially with Instagram. I've actually found, honestly, Instagram, and especially with Instagram Live now, has become my favorite platform to engage in, and getting to do interviews this way has been really cool. And
you kind of already answering my question, actually, so I'll just launch into that. In terms of connecting with your fans, now that conventions are off the table and large gatherings for who knows how long, what is the best way for fans to be able to reach out and connect with you?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
I answered it.
Any other?
Instagram, I was actually really active on Twitter for, not really active for me. I was like psyched on it because I was like, oh, you have to just get to the point. You can only use so many characters, and it was pretty good. When the pandemic started, for some reason, I just went into like this mode of like, meh. I think
Yeah.
just self-preservation of having to deal with what was going on. So Instagram has been my go-to. I'm horrible at my Facebook page. Sorry, everyone. But I actually do respond to that. I'm on Cameo, which is basically kind of at this point has taken the place ish of conventions where people can, purchase videos that I can send them shout outs and love and all that.
Okay, so
Uh,
that's give me like a 101 breakdown of Cameo for those that might not know.
Well, I mean, it's cool. They've actually changed their platform a bit that now people can find you on this app, Cameo, and request a video message from me or whomever else you are choosing to purchase from a Cameo. It does
There
cost
is no one
money.
else.
There is, yeah, even though like Brad Pitt's on there. Actually, he's not. I don't think Brad Pitt's on there. But yeah, it's me. Why would you want to hear from anybody else? I mean, come on. Um, and they've added a feature where the people uh, purchasing the video
Mhm.
request can send videos, and you can message, which is
Oh,
cool because what I loved about conventions, and I know will come back, is interacting with people. Like, it's one thing to send out messages of love, but ultimately what makes me so grateful is the one-on-one connection. So they do have it now that you can, for the most part, write messages to each other. Whoever purchases it, you can actually like, hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 and chat. And then,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's been pretty cool. And I try as much as possible with Instagram and Twitter to respond to people and send love back because I know I'm just so
Yeah.
humbled. And just again, I use the word, hey everybody, take a drink whenever she says the word grateful.
What
Make
is it? What's
it
the word? What's their secret
gr
word?
grateful.
Grateful. Hashtag
Yeah.
grateful.
10 minutes in, you'll be like drunk. So
So
yeah, that's
grateful.
been, what about you? Like, what are you finding as far as, well, I mean, besides doing what you're doing right now?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I was off social media completely, off everything
I
for
know.
14 months.
Yeah.
I just got off. I was working on a screenplay that I wanted to write, and I needed to carve out some time between work and being a mom.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, that's probably like 10 hours a week or maybe a lot more. I don't know.
Right.
But it was great. And I loved being off social media. I didn't miss it. I thought I was gonna. I'm so the habit is so ingrained that I thought I would miss it, and I didn't miss it at all.
Right.
But the hard part was getting back on. I didn't want to be a digital nomad forever, and I thought that's probably not a great way to get people excited about me working on a project. So I knew I had to come back, and I just kept delaying it and delaying it. And the only thing that got me excited was the idea of like rebooting this and having something to offer because everything that's going on globally and what I'm hoping people will resonate with is positivity and love and
Sure.
fun. And
Yeah.
how can I bring that when there's a global pandemic and we're all experience so much suffering and you don't want to whitewash your personal experience or downplay the experience of others. So I'm like, what can I offer that is like just changing the channel on that for a little bit.
Right.
And so with that, this is what actually got me back on. It got me excited. So
Yeah, no, I'm grateful, drink,
oh, grateful.
that you are doing it. And yeah, it's been, uh there's been several times where I felt like I'm kind of spinning out, and the one thing that is unique to this situation is sometimes you're spinning out and you literally are personally spinning out. I mean, there is the expression that, remember that everyone's going through something, but during this, literally on the days where I'm like, this is just needs to end and I don't understand. And, and I'm like, oh, I personally feel so horrible. And then you're like, oh yeah, so does like half the fucking world right now. So, or more. So with this platform and what you're doing, it's been a really, and other ways of connecting with fans, it's been so helpful for myself and just communally. Is that a word? Communally? Did I just make that up? It's a word. Yeah. Where's my script?
I want I just like picturing like a communal bacchanal of like things for us to share. But then I just think, oh, it has to be virtually. So yes, communal.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody is interested, this show happens every Wednesday at 6 p.m. PST, and then the replays are just available on Instagram TV. So feel free to like, follow, subscribe. No, I don't know. I don't know what the YouTube is. That's what the YouTube.
I think that's it.
I don't know what the IGTV people say, but I see a lot of really good questions coming in below, and it's a little more difficult for me to keep up with stuff. So if you don't mind putting it in the question box, then we will get to it when we do like the Q&A portion. So a lot of good questions. Just type them in the question box.
Also, I thought you were telling me to do that. I was like, I don't know how to do that.
You don't need to. You just sit back and look pretty. No, but I do like that Nick's Mellow said we look like two friends who watch Netflix together on Saturday night.
I can't believe we don't.
And my question to you is, right, they have Netflix party. What are you watching? Anything good?
Yeah, what the hell am I watching? Well, it's interesting because I definitely went on like a good old-fashioned BBC masterpiece theater kick.
No.
So, oh yes. So I don't know why I immersed my
old school.
No, a few series that are newish. So I blasted through Poldark. I'm totally spacing on the actor's name right now. He was in The Hobbit. He's hot. Let's just be honest. Anyways, so Poldark.
Googling hot actor.
Yeah, from The Hobbit, Poldark. It's a really good series. So after that ended, I was like, what do I watch now? And then I started watching just got hooked into the BBC. I'm watching like Grantchester. There was another series called Sanditon that I watched. What the hell else? I rewatched Stranger Things because it's so good. I feel like there must be something newer that I'm totally forgetting. Oh, well, The Mandalorian, of course. That's basically some of the best Star Wars I've seen since the late 70s, early 80s. Yes.
Classic stuff.
Yeah, I know I'm totally spacing on like a massively important series that I just watched, and I'm totally like drawing a blank right now as to what it is.
If it isn't that what it is, gives you a minute to draw a blank instead of thinking about everything that's happening globally.
Yeah, it's been interesting though. I haven't been I've been as you know, I split my time between the Bay Area and Los Angeles.
Yes.
And when this kind of went down, all of a sudden us voice actors were like, must have professional broadcast studio, and I'm like, I don't have that. If I would have had,
they pay me the big bucks.
Yeah, and that's why they pay studios.
Bring me to the studio.
Yeah, if I would have been psychic, I of course would have, I live in a small 1-bedroom apartment up here in the Bay, and I live in a small apartment down in LA, and I didn't know this was going to happen. Nobody did. So this is a long story. It will get shorter. So I have access to a private studio with a very good friend of mine who normally mixed albums for musicians. Yeah. So he and so I've been like the only actress going into this studio.
Hey.
And I'm very fortunate. But honestly, instead of I kind of felt like when this first happened, I could have fallen prone to staying inside and just blasting through show after show after show, but I had this opposite reaction of and here in the Bay Area, so spoiled, but of just leaving my apartment and heading up into the hills and basically just hiking and walking and processing for hours.
It's so funny because you and I are so aligned in that way that the only thing that has been freeing is like connecting to nature, getting out, breathing the fresh air,
Yeah.
and feeling like there's been many times historically that have been super challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And these are tough times. These are challenging
Yeah.
times. But when you connect to nature and you're like, this tree's been here for 200 years.
Yeah, they're fun. They're yeah, you're like, oh.
Still here. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they're rotted parts, and
Right.
that's sometimes what life is.
Totally.
Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of people asking about Clementine.
Clem.
Will you do a little of the voice for us?
Well, I guess we'll start with season 1 because she was just like a little kid, and those were pretty cool times. It was pretty scary though. And we'll just go through the ages, and season 2 happened thankfully because she was protected by Lee and she learned how to survive, and then she was still not bitten. And in season 3, she had definitely gone through some pretty heavy shit. That was her like kind of badass dirty Harry phase. And then season 4 she got AJ back, and now she's in mom mode, and it's been really cool to try to raise a kid, but also very difficult. But you know what? We're still not bitten. Kind of.
I'm not gonna spoil that one. Sorry. I just thought I'd just go through the years. Clem through the years.
That's amazing.
I can't, it's such, I mean, as you well know in our industry, anytime you get to spend time with a reoccurring and ongoing character of any kind, it's magic. It's why we do what we do, is because it's just what a cool job. And it's just, it's why we do what we do, because we love it. To get to actually progress in age with this character, this amazingly written character, which I take no claim to, people. Every line that I said, it's not like they're like, I improv some stuff, and what do you think Clem would say? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I do, but I'm not, not a writer. Working with the writers at Telltale Games was just, was such an amazing, mind-blowing experience. And then to have the fan base, all you beautiful people out there, just such an incredible community of humans. The games industry, I'm definitely not pointing or saying and trying to say anything negative, but sometimes people take games in different ways and have different emotions about them. But I just really have experienced nothing but love from the community of the Walking Dead fans. It's been surreal, honestly.
And how challenging to have Telltale kind of close up. I mean,
yeah, that was crazy. That was I was in the recording session for the final episode of season 4 when that happened.
The emotional final episode.
We literally, the director, Jack Fletcher, who, oh God, amazing. I don't know if you've worked with him before. He's done, I'm sure if you Googled him, you'd be like, oh yeah. He started the session not knowing, he didn't know that we were going to literally be interrupted midway through with this news, but he started saying, hey, we normally go in order of the script, but today I want to start with that final scene, and it's the scene with me and AJ. Again, I won't say too much. It was so emotional, and he did it in a way where he's like, I'm going to let you just go for it, and let's just do a take and see what happens. And we were going through lines, and I did it. And then he gave me this direction, and he was like, okay, now I want you to read it again with the knowledge that this is going to be the very last time you are speaking as Clementine. And I was like, just lost my shit. And you'd think that was the magical take. There was probably way too much blubbering in it. I think we went with the take after that. But about 15 minutes later, we kind of, moved on, and someone came in the room, and basically he's like, give us a minute. I was in LA, They were in the Bay and we were all on Skype. He mutes it, comes back on. He's like, "Oh, we need to wrap it up." And I'm like, "There's 2 hours left in the session. Like, what's going on?" And I immediately left and called a friend who works at Telltale, and he told me that they shut literally, we're like, "You guys have 30 minutes to get your shit and get out. We're shutting the doors." And it was just like, I've never experienced so much pain beyond like an actual death of like someone you love or a pet you love. Like it was that kind of pain.
Oh,
And not just for myself. I definitely had like
yeah.
the fans in mind, obviously, and then these workers who are all of a sudden like, "Oh, we live in the Bay Area and we don't have jobs and we're going to lose our health insurance." in like a week. Like it was horrible. I laugh now, but it was it
Yeah,
was so
because
heavy.
you, as the actor, you are the face of hundreds of people working behind the scenes, doing every single aspect from promotions to boarding to animation and all audio editing and everything. So I can imagine, like, as an empath, and to be able to be an actor, you have to be some level of empath. And so sometimes
Right.
it is hard to be in this world, but you've taken on hopes and dreams of a whole lot of people. And
Right.
then to have to take that in, I can imagine that would be.
Yeah. Well, and it was I mean they'd released the first 2 episodes, right? I don't know, someone can probably write it.
Two or three.
It's all like I
Two or
think the
three.
third one should have theoretically almost been
Good.
out. It was
Yeah.
almost out. Um, so that was also just like, we made it that far. I mean, the fact that Skybound, I mean, it made sense. I had
Did they
given up
always know it was going
hope.
to be five at that point? Like,
It was
oh yeah,
four
because you were
four
already,
episodes.
okay, sorry, four.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and I don't know. I don't know why it never occurred to me. I mean, I processed, I worked through it. We all worked through it as a community. We healed, we mourned, we healed. And it was like autumn. It was like September or something when I was visiting family in Springfield, Missouri, where I'm from, and I got a call from the vice uh, president of Skybound Games, and I was about to go out with friends, and I'm like, I'm not going to answer this because I don't know what's going on. So I went out and had a good night. Sorry, Dan, no offense, but I was just like, and
He's not
then
watching this.
yeah, no, why not? I'm gonna text him right now. Oh wait, there's my phone.
He could watch the replay. I can guarantee you he's not watching the replay, but I've not seen him on the stream.
Yeah. So anyways, after I went out and saw my friend's band play and we're in the Uber home and someone from Telltale Games texted me saying, "Oh my God, still not bitten," and Clementine lives and all these things are coming in. And then Robert Kirkman had announced that day at New York Comic Con that Skybound Games was going to finish the series. And even then, you'd think it would have been an immediate like, huzzah, yay, everything's good. But I was like super guarded because I was like, well, okay, that's great, but are we going to be working with the original crew from Telltale? Like, it needs to be their story. Like, how's this getting? I was all protective and like in denial. But
What year was that?
I think someone just said it was 2 years ago. Feels like it was like 12 years
Let's
ago.
ask the audience.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years ago. Yeah, it must have been.
And Allie, hey Allie, 97, said the first two were from Telltale, the third and the fourth came out by Skybound. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for fact checking us.
Yeah. So anyways, it only makes sense. It's Robert Kirkman's, The Walking Dead is his universe. Skybound Games and Robert Kirkman have always been involved, Skybound in general.
Yeah.
It's just funny that it never occurred to me that he'd be the one to like save it. And I know I'm seeing a lot of people asking, yes, I did. So let's go back to New York Comic Con virtual pandemic days.
Virtual pandemic, not actual pandemic.
Yes, virtual pandemic. That he did just make an announcement that Clem is somehow going to be involved in the universe.
Ooh,
coming.
Let's speculate what could be happening. She's got 2 kids, a mortgage.
She's got age, yeah. Right, because mortgages. Like at this point in the zombie apocalypse,
They
banks
figured
have
it out.
reformed.
Someone is monetizing that.
Right, politics sucks. There's a president that nobody likes. Should
Hey,
be
wait,
Clem.
I voted.
Yay!
It's actually a
Nice.
zombie bite, though. So
Right. So here are my theories. Please, nobody, or let me just say right away, I have zero idea. Nobody's reached out to me. I have no clue. My theories, well, there's three. There's three theories. That
you have three that are yours.
Three that, yeah, if I was a fan, like, what's he gonna do? What's Robert Kirkman gonna do?
Okay.
I think it'll either be an involvement with a comic book, like her written into a comic series. I don't know, maybe.
Oh, okay,
again,
okay,
nobody take me
okay.
too seriously because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about pretty much ever. What would be the best option is, of course, something involving like an animated series.
Yeah. Oh, an animated series, yes.
Or a new
with your friend Allie in it. Why not?
Hell yes. You know it. I would definitely push for that. Or the show AMC universe. I don't know. Obviously, if that's the case, I mean that would still be thrilling, but unfortunately, Clem and she's a little bit younger than me. I'm a little more Irish looking. I don't know. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So to answer people's questions, I honestly don't know what's going on, but he did throw that out. That is legit.
All right, so everybody can write in and request animated series.
Animated series.
Animated series.
Or another, I mean, the game is basically plays like an animated series, so that would be amazing. But I don't.
It would be cool. I mean, do you think, how far forward have they gone in the universe with the show and stuff?
Well, the comics ended. He ended the comic. The show actually, God, is it season 10? Sorry, I think it's season 10, and I think they announced one more season, and they're ending that. Wow. But then there's like spin-offs happening. There's like a Rick movie and there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening. But I think the series itself is has one more, and then they're done. Something like that.
How about HBO's The Last of Us series? A new character you're playing. Something you can talk about?
Am I? Shit. My agent hasn't called me on that one yet.
Rumor.
Maybe. Yeah.
Rumor.
So I did hear there is going to be a Last of Us is a series or something on the HBOs or something. I'm not involved unless you are a psychic and know something I don't. And if that's the case, thank you. That excites me. I did do some like ancillary voices in The Last of Us 2 that just came out. So like I don't even know if there's a word. I'm just throwing out words I don't even know what they mean anymore. Ancillary.
This is like the easiest interview ever. I wrote all these questions, but the audience just has so many more questions. So I mean, apparently let's go to the tape.
All right.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm someone just said you were that person that Abby talks to. Yes, Abby, like I'm like a townsfolk or something where you can like ask me something. I'm like, sorry, Abby, don't have that today. Check back tomorrow.
These are all really good questions, but I think we need to start at the beginning.
All right.
30 minutes into the interview.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
How did you get your start in voice acting? I know there's a lot of questions about microphones and stuff like that, and all that stuff is easy to find out if you go to Google and like George Whittam, look him up, or just even how to break into voiceover. That type of stuff is pretty easy to find if you Google it. But what isn't easy to find is like the first person accounts of like how somebody actually did it. Because everybody's story is going to be a little bit different. So can you share with us your story?
Well, as it turns out, when I was a kiddo, I wanted to either be a veterinarian, a race car driver, or an actress. Still want to be a race car driver. It's up there. Yeah. But
that's a total side tangent. Did you read the Space Racers party? the Space Racers party where we had the go-karts?
Oh, yeah, I sucked so badly. It was really upsetting. I was actually emotionally hurt by the fact that I was a horrible, like, electric go-kart racer. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So for those of you guys that don't know, Melissa and I were on a TV show called Space Racers. It was for preschool. It focused on STEM learning, science, technology, engineering, and
Yeah,
math. I was going to say
right.
education and math.
I know. I'm like, you got this.
Sometimes they throw an A in there and they make it STEAM. But they for the season 2 wrap party was at like a go-kart place. So when Melissa said she wanted to be a race car driver, I thought, oh my God, that must have been the best day of your life. But apparently no.
No, I mean, I was okay. I shouldn't crap on it too badly. It was a lot of fun.
I was injured. I was definitely injured.
Racing the cars.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, knocking
major,
around.
yeah, knocking around some big time.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I also
so
didn't know that after you had a drink, they made you stop racing. So I only got in like 2 laps because I was like, it's time for a glass of wine. And then they're like, yeah, now you can't race. I'm like, I've already, what? God, dang it. Anyways,
why?
makes sense, kids. So I have always had an interest in being an actress. When I was 10 years old, I'm going to date myself here because this is the days when you'd go into the newspaper and look in the theater, like audition ads. I was living in Maryland and I was like, I'm going to be an actress. And my mom was like, cool, that's awesome. I found an audition for a Christmas Carol. And that was my very first play. I went.
That was one of my first plays.
Really?
Too, my first community theater play.
Yay!
Okay.
Yes,
Tell
that
me
was literally
what
my.
theater?
It was Prince George's County, Maryland,
Maryland.
because my mom was going to law school in DC, so we lived there for a spell. And it was amazing. I mean, at that point, I was just like, I'm going to be an actress. I mean, I've always wanted to be an actress. So with that being said, and this will kind of round out to a lot of answers where people are like, well, how do I get into voice acting?
Right.
I have a background throughout junior high, high school. I was always involved in drama in school, community theater. That's my background. To add to that, though, and how it ended up in a voiceover trajectory, I've always been obsessed with animation and doing voices and trying to emulate the voices I would hear in cartoons and match. And honestly, when The Simpsons came out, and my God, it was like 89, 88, Tracy Ullman show. And I think I was like 12, and I put together that Bart Simpson, who, wow, that's a woman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And holy crap, she's so good because it's character-y, but it's like a good like boy voice.
Attitude and like the attitude.
Totally. Yeah, like Nancy Cartwright nailed it. And so me and my sister would sit around and like, try to get the voice down. And just I've always had a fondness for character work and doing voices. It's not like I just and then I studied at Juilliard, and I don't have that. I actually kind of fell out of acting my late teens, early 20s, and just went out into the world and did what sometimes people at that age do.
Experience.
Yeah, never. There's a Grateful Dead tattoo on my ankle right now.
Oh.
Got it when I was 18. Hey, kids.
I know. I always wonder, what if we'd met each other when we were 18?
I don't know. It would have been amazing.
Double trouble.
Double trouble. Double trouble. For sure. I can for sure acknowledge that. But the best kind of trouble. It would have been amazing. And then, I did my thing. But honestly, my story is... It's funny because when I was I'm just not a throw out to when I was at the BAFTA Awards, but I was at the BAFTA Awards, and there was a gentleman asking me like, oh, have you ever thought of, teaching classes for BAFTA, your experience, how to get into voiceover? And I was like, well, honestly, I went to high school with my agent, Nate Tico, at Stars.
Nate.
Yeah. In San Francisco. And I had a really good friend who was doing like the tags for Sprint PCS at the time. And I was just like, man, I was working a job where I was so unhappy. And I just knew in my soul, I was like, I need to get back into acting. This is ridiculous.
What was that job?
What was the job she was doing?
that you hated?
Oh, I was a restaurant manager for Pizzeria Uno's in San
Oh,
Francisco. None of them exist. They all closed, but it's out of
mhm,
Chicago. Deep dish
mhm.
pizza. It's a franchise.
We
It
had
was,
Uno's in Boston. Yeah.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
So you were just like, okay, what's next? And you had
Yeah,
no idea. No
I
idea.
was no idea. I was I was really unhappy. I was commuting. I was just doing things that like, look, I'm gonna be honest, and I used to be more insecure about this when I was younger because I was like, well, I don't want to tell people to not go to school, but I was always an artist, and when I was in high school, I did not do well. It wasn't like a lack of mental capabilities. It
Yeah.
wasn't a learning thing. It was
Mhm.
I didn't feel good, and the system was set up in a way where it never nurtured what I wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
I'd get out of school, I'd go to my community theater rehearsals, and I was like, I'm home. I'm
Yeah.
home. So like college was never a thing with me. I didn't, you know, I just had this calling that I was like, I need to get back into acting. And like because my friend was doing these spots, I was like, oh man, I should get in touch with Nate and ask him if he can give me some advice. So I went in to chat with him. It is getting really dark here. I'm gonna turn this on. It may be offensive. Oh,
Ooh.
now I look orange. This is the yellow.
What? You look
Um,
warm.
I look warm. Pretend it's a beautiful firelight. Um,
Yeah.
so basically, again, long story short, I went in to talk with him to seek out advice on how to get into the voiceover industry. And because he knows my past and has seen me in theater, he was just like, look, start coming in for some auditions. We'll see how it goes. You need to take some beginner classes because you need to know what to do when you get into a booth.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got lucky. People, again, I should have just said I got lucky, but
No,
I
but I mean, I think that luck presents itself when there's a combination of talent, which you already had, and passion.
right,
So it's
exact.
like
Well,
you're here and you're traveling there. This, do you like this
I do.
visual diagramming it?
Yeah,
You're traveling, but you were prepared. I mean, but
yeah.
then to see your meteoric rise to the top, to then being a BAFTA nominated voice actor within 5 years, like
It was a
how?
little bit longer than that. It was
Yeah,
about 7 years. And to be honest,
that's nothing,
it's nothing. I do have friends who are
right?
like just start and they're like, bam, hitting the ground running. The first year of doing voiceover, and this is when we were going into the studio to record
Mhm.
for auditions and stuff, but it was a slow road in the beginning. But then once I started booking, and it's funny because my first gig ever was a video game,
Yeah,
it just started to, just the ball started rolling. And yeah, so, but I did take classes. I did
yeah.
study. I studied at Voice One in San Francisco. I studied with Taylor Corribo, who she doesn't teach anymore, but I took the beginning classes. I took classes with Bob
Bob Bergen.
Bergen. I was supposed to say
Yeah.
Bergman. Bergen.
Well, I
You
did call
know,
you Melissa Hutchison
it's
for the
okay.
7 years of our friendship, and
Whatever.
on this post. So,
It's not like we go by like last name. Hey, what's up, Packard?
I
You
know,
know, I
but
mean,
I
we're not
always
like
call you
last
Melissa
name people.
Hutchinson. I'm like, "Good God." So now I know, and I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Did somebody correct you on that?
No,
Oh,
I realized it when I actually read the letters in the middle.
oh, it's all good.
Also, yeah, maybe not the best at high school, but anyways, yeah, well, I think that it also speaks to your talent. I mean, and being able to do an authentic sounding child's voice is not easy.
No.
Um, there's something about not just vocally, but the energy, it's
Right,
not just teeny tiny vocal cords, but
right. Yeah.
the way you are acting her.
Sure. I mean, and that was an interesting thing with Clem is well, like Starling. Wow, gee golly, she's
Yeah,
everything's so exciting. It's that
yeah,
cartoony, I mean, it's great. It's super awesome character work. But because of how real and heavy the content is with The Walking Dead, mean, they were auditioning children for the role
Oh,
because they needed it to be. You don't want to be playing the serious game and hear like, "Gee golly, Lee, should we kill that walker?" You'd be like, somebody kill that character. This is horrible. So it was like,
more, please.
and so somebody said, why didn't they cast a kid? They didn't cast. I mean, thankfully,
Yeah, thankfully.
it's just too heavy. The
Also,
content's too heavy. Not saying that kids can't be amazing actors. Obviously, in
right.
Hollywood, there's kids that I'm like, damn, how'd they pull that off? How's
But
that kid so?
also, if you're casting children, then you're required to have a studio tutor for them if they're working X amount of hours.
Right.
And
Well,
there's
yeah,
a lot of
this was Telltale Games. I mean, at this point, they're a tiny indie game company. So none of that was even like on the radar. They were very
yeah.
small. I mean, that's one of the phenomenal success stories of our time is this little indie company that year just killed it with that first season.
How did they get the opportunity to then partner? This is probably not a question for you, but
maybe.
the opportunity to do that franchise.
So before The Walking Dead, they'd done other franchises before. I mean, they started with, they did Strong Bad, which I'm sure that was Strong Bad's hilarious, long time ago. They had done a Back to the Future game, so that they were familiar with like, contacting the powers that be that make that possible to. I think Robert Kirkman with Skybound was also super open to it because he liked what their platform was, the choose your own adventure, like it was very and when they pitched it to him, I'm sure they're like, hey man, we're going to keep it. The artwork is insane. It's so good. It's like right there with the comic book illustrations. And I think that they were definitely able to relate to him in a way that he was like, if anybody's going to make this game, it's going to be you guys. So I think he was just psyched because they were so good. Their Telltale Games were master storytellers. I mean, I speak as if like they've all like magically gone away and died. They're still out there and they're still doing amazing things just with different companies.
Oh my goodness. Check this out.
Your husband doing VR.
Do it.
Ooh, wait, what? No fair.
Oh God.
No fair.
Wow. Thank you.
Oh my God. Hi, you guys. Hi.
You can say hi to Melissa. You want to say
God. Hi.
Hello.
I haven't seen you since you were a little tiny tater tot.
Bye.
When did you get so big? Yeah.
I know he's 4.5 now.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, 4.75.
That makes no sense.
I mean, how funny was that? Those guys.
Love it. How generous was that? Is that water or is that another cocktail? Oh my God.
It's just water.
Yeah. Great. Well, drink
really
it slowly.
Strong water.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, though.
That's
I mean,
okay.
It's okay. So that's a really interesting hypothesis. I guess that does kind of round up that story in terms of people. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, just to wrap that up, just the story-driven style that Telltale is famous for, is why I think Kirkman was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And of course, he had a lot of input on it as well.
How many years ago was that now? Math?
Oh God, that was so. I know it was like 2012.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8. Oh my God, did I guess
it
that?
Feels like 2008. It feels like a million years ago.
I
but
mean, 2012 would be 8 years, yeah.
Oh, 8 years, you mean? I think you meant
8 years.
It's been a long time. It's incredible. And it's not like I was working constantly on that. There was, a year or two in between the seasons. So,
but
but
still, some fun games too. Toys and stuff. Can you tell us about any of them? I don't know.
The toys?
Yeah.
Oh my good. Well, that's, God bless Leapfrog. That's all I have to say. When I got my start in the Bay Area, one of the toy companies, and I still work for them because I love them. I love the people that work there. was doing like interactive toys back in the what year? I don't know, the early 2000s, whatever that was.
Hmm.
Um, that was, a big industry, push the button and A, B, C, like
Yeah.
children's interactive toys. So if any
Yeah.
of you out there have anything from Leapfrog, there's a great chance, whether you like it or not, my voice is coming out of that, whatever it is.
Well, it's kind of funny to think that somebody could have had your toy in the early 2000s and then played Clem later. Like,
Yeah, so different,
literally
right?
could be the voice of their childhood. I mean, their
Yeah.
childhood through young adulthood.
Yes.
So many. Do you have Disco Broccoli? I've
You know
never.
what? No, I do not. Sorry, I didn't mean to seem a little bitter about that.
What's Disco Broccoli?
What's up with that? I have like a t-shirt. It's not with me. It's in LA. Disco Broccoli is in season 4 of The Walking Dead. Um, I wish that Chris was here. He's the one that wrote the character. Disco Broccoli, there's like these, what's the Veggie Tales or Veggie Time, or there's like some
Veggie
animates
Tales.
here. So this
Uh-huh.
is like this world's version. Clem finds these action figures that are like, oh God, I'm totally forgetting like the other characters besides Disco Broccoli, like, Turnip Pete, or I don't know, that was horrible. Like
Well, also Yokai Watch
Disco
had those.
Broccoli. Oh,
Did you play one of those like there was a Disco Broccoli guy in Yokai Watch, the dancing trio or something like that. Do you remember that?
God, now I'm
I don't know if you were
vaguely
one of those three.
Oh
That's
yeah,
so
no, I
funny.
totally was. Of course. What are you talking about? You and I were like one of those 3. We were probably the
I
3, and
think
then
I
the
was 2 of them.
75
You were
characters,
probably the third.
which was
Well,
great. That was not a complaint. Like Yokai Watch was like
we
a
got to
beatnik.
work it
We got
and
to work it and like
think fast.
yeah, it was like we have 12 characters that you need to voice today. Here's what they look
Go.
like. Okay.
I know. For those of anybody, if I don't know if you guys watched Yokai Watch, which is airing on Disney XD. It was originally from Japan, and
So much
Melissa and I,
fun.
we played brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Well, how's it going? I haven't seen you for so long.
I don't know, brother. Were you Koma-san or Komajiro? I don't remember.
Well, I was Koma-san. You're Komajiro.
That's right. I'm Komajiro. Thank you for telling me, brother. That's right. I was the one that rapped.
Yeah, you were way more hip. Koma-san was like, oh, my swirls.
Oh,
Like he
my
was like, I don't
swirls.
know what's happening. Hillbilly. I totally got to rock my like hillbilly Ozarkian roots for that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old were you when you left the Ozarks?
Well, my parents got divorced when I was quite young. So, technically my dad and a lot of my family are still there. It's,
Mhm.
but my mom, so my dad's always been there. I did a lot of hopping back and forth. So, I never really left I still haven't left the Ozarks. I'm very tied to it in many, many ways.
You're a multi-dimensional,
I am,
yeah. I
it
want to
just,
say bi-coastal, but if it's like
well,
the
kind
one
of. I mean, with my
place.
mom,
Yeah.
we did live on the East Coast, and then she moved us to San Francisco in '89. So I've been in California since then, but
Yeah.
I've
Wow.
gone back to Springfield to live with my dad, and then I have a lot of friends and connections there. So, yeah, still tied
Wow.
to the Ozarks.
That's amazing. Let's see. It's a lot of questions coming in. Let me check and see. I think this is a really good question from Jeff. So you commute from San Francisco to LA, but they're very far apart from each other. How do you make that work?
At first it was a little like, what am I doing? I just still work up in the Bay Area so much and have clients that are
Yeah.
kind of tied to recording up here. And I don't know, it's also been my home since, well, 1989. We've established that. At first it was tricky, but I committed. I was like, look, I need to, and in order, as you know, with LA agents, they won't mess around. They're like, are you here? Are you available?
Yeah.
And the answer needs to be yes, 1000% all the time, unless you have something literally you're not available. But
You can always record it for an alley studio too.
I know, I'm like, I'm gonna be looking into that. I mean, obviously right now it's crazy. But
Yeah.
in the beginning, it was a little much. I just committed to the fact that I'm like, hey, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in my car. I'm going to jump on the Southwest flights and book flights and then shuffle them around and be
Hmm.
available to be in Los Angeles when I can,
Hmm.
uh, and just spend time there. Because the thing with LA, and I discovered this because even being in the industry as long as I have been, I walked down there like, hello, I've won the VGA and I'm BAFTA nominated. And it was like, I was like, wait a minute. Oh, shit. This is going to be difficult. Uh, you have to commit to the LA scene and you have to be there. So, I mean, even in the beginning, if I didn't have work booked, I would go down there and spend time because I'm a firm believer, as I'm sure you are. Sure, we've talked about this, about being in a space and manifesting things to happen. And when you're in a space and you're present and you're visualizing how you want it to be, that eventually it will happen for you. So it was tricky because there were times where I was wanted to take the frustrated route of like, oh man, like, ugh, I've committed to living this dual life.
Yeah.
But every time I started to have doubt and I'd put my focus and my intentions back together and my agent would call me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I would ever give up on LA. It's where animation is. It's where games are. It's where the industry is.
But you don't think
Uh,
you'll ever give up on SF either?
if anything, I mean, it's interesting because I've been having this conversation a lot, and right now it's like there's no point in pondering it because I'm kind of stuck where I am as far as the world being closed down. Although they are opening studios in LA more and more.
Yeah. Today was the first day I was actually in the studio since early March.
Oh wow, wow,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
great to not
yeah.
have to
Oh,
ride the levels on my own session.
turn down the gain, turn up
Yeah.
the gain. What's the gain?
That was perfect, but you peaked. So
Yeah.
do it again.
Right, you get a call 3 hours later, like, okay, so everything we recorded was bad. You're gonna need to redo it.
Oh,
Um,
unfortunately, that hasn't happened. But
I I committed to needing to still have my space for my spiritual health. This is not I'm gonna shit on Los Angeles, but environmentally, I've just always been in Northern California in a cooler weather. I'm a redhead, people. Fog, San Francisco. Put it together. LA, hot, hot, desert.
yes,
But no, I do acknowledge though, honestly, and within probably sooner than later that I will have to really fully commit to it. Yeah, yeah. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm almost there.
my
Well,
mind.
and that's what makes it easier is having a community. A lot of people are like, oh, Los Angeles, it's the worst place ever. But you know what? There are so many amazing people such as yourself that make up this supportive community of people that, it's not such like oh God, I'm gonna like turn my life apart to make it full time. So it's on the horizon. It's just
And
realistically on the horizon.
there is nature if you don't mind commuting to the studios.
Right.
But you're
Sure.
already commuting,
What,
so
for 386 miles as opposed to like
probably better. Yeah.
24 miles in traffic. That's
It's so
okay.
funny. I usually end these interviews after 30 minutes, and we've been going 55 minutes. So I just
Oh
want to check in
God.
with you. How are you feeling? Because I think it's still hot, and I definitely have some questions I didn't get to.
I'll
So if you
shut
want
up.
to go, no, don't shut. The whole point is that you keep talking and
Okay.
we keep asking you questions.
I'm
Um,
fine. I'm
okay,
totally cool.
okay. Um, so let's see. I mean, we talked about a lot of this stuff. I was curious, have you been doing or are you doing a lot of performance capture or motion capture?
I've done a couple of things.
Mhm. Anything you can talk
Unfortunately,
about?
I think I can kind of talk about this now because they released it. So I don't know. I did this thing for Oculus. But it was more like the demo because they ended up, I think, going with an actual child for the voice. Not offended. So I got to spend a day on set and I mean, it was so much fun. I wish I was a little more prepared because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I learned
Yeah.
quickly. That's one thing that I'm very proud of is I take direction very well, and I'll catch on as quick as you can teach me.
Yeah.
But honestly, no, I haven't. I haven't been.
Yeah.
I've definitely had lots of auditions come through for that, but I want to because it's the perfect marriage of my background of theater, but then still, being physical and then also with the expressions. But if you want to be a 80-year-old grandma, you can do that, or you could be a 10-year-old child. So it's such a perfect marriage of voiceover and on-camera work. How about you?
What about the memorization?
Oh God, that whole thing. Well, as it turns out, if you haven't been doing theater for many, many years, that muscle shrinks to like, holy crap, how do I even remember who I am?
It's very interesting. I know. Actually, right before the pandemic, I used to do more on camera and produce my own
Right.
sketches, and I love love doing on camera. But um, voiceover's just always been more natural,
Yeah.
come easier. So it's been the path I pursued more, and I was getting ready to, do more of a on camera push, and then everything has shut down. And like
Right.
what little muscle that I've worked to be able to remember and get off book for stuff, I'm like, I don't even know where that is. But it seems to me like the voice actors that work a lot in performance capture, motion capture, actually started it on camera and then came over to voice,
Right.
like Notion, people like that. So I was
Yeah.
curious. I'm curious to find out more, and that's something I need to do a little research on to see. Do you guys have any voice actors that you love that do performance capture or motion capture that you'd like to see on the show? Let me know. Jeff's been doing
Probably
PCAP
a lot.
classes virtually. Virtually. Melissa's hair gives you the
The
vibe.
vibes. Oh, because of the
Somebody loves
pigtails.
it.
I know. Hey, I did it way before Clem. Now I just do it as an homage.
It's so
Um,
cute.
just
Mhm.
a real fast on the performance capture or the memorization thing. I've been thinking about, I mean, you can obviously take classes in that, but as a personal practice of getting some monologues or I don't know, the back of a, box crackers, whatever, and just try to like remember. I mean, it is a little disconcerting how thankfully the gig that I had, she was actually going around her house writing things down. That was part of the character's thing.
Some
So I
key.
had like I had cheat script like
Yeah.
on like a fake notepad thing. But no, it was I mean I still have nightmares where I'm like about to walk on stage and I'm supposed to like be in a play and I'm like I don't know the lines. I don't know the lines. I don't know the lines. So,
I know.
anyways, makes
We're
sense
getting a
that on
lot of
camera.
really good feedback. So yeah, maybe you guys can just DM me because I don't know if I can read that fast. Mark Hamill. Yes, let's get him on the show for sure.
I'll try to help you
I'll
with
get him
that.
on the show, guys. I promise you. Just like, subscribe. Hey, you guys. John Bailey just jumped on, Epic Voice Guy. This is our
Yay!
commercial break where I tell you he's going to be on the show next week. And it's going to be
Woohoo!
awesome because nobody does better trailer voices than Epic Voice. I can't even
Yeah, I would
Epic
try to
Voice.
do it for you, but
I know, it's like, Marky Mark. Okay, get Marky Mark on here, please. Um, Lots of voice actor. Okay, yes. Richard Ian Cox. If you guys don't mind DMing me, I would be super excited. But back to the reason the show is here.
Back to me.
Melissa,
Really?
let's talk about Ash from Leagues of Legends.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about all the good things. Okay, I just really wanted to just
Totally. Man, the bad thing. Sorry, I felt like I left you
maybe
down. That
let's
maybe.
talk
Let's talk
about
about
Ash.
Ash.
Let's talk about
Uh,
Ash.
Ash. dad Ash, as some of the leaguers would say. So that's a totally different like genre of gamers. I rarely meet
Yeah.
people who are like, I love Telltale games, and I'm also a huge League of Legends fan. Uh, yeah, that was interesting because it was one of those jobs that in early in my career where you know, Riot at that time was in San Francisco, Riot Games, and I booked
Where are
this
they now?
gig in LA.
Okay.
They're out of LA, and I still do Ash. I just was in the studio not too long ago. Anyways, it was one of these gigs where I think I had like 12, 13 lines total, and like four of those lines were like just laughing or like, you know, making sounds, you know. So it was like
Can you do the voice for
literally,
us?
take a good look. It's the last you're going to get. Although now she's kind of morphed. She does all kinds of things now. She's, you know, she's a badass warrior. She's a Frost Arrow warrior. Anyways, Frost Arrow. Sorry if I'm offending anybody. Arrow, Frost. About 3 years later, I had a good friend who was like, "Hey, are you the voice of Ash in League of Legends?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He played it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." I mean, here's the deal. This is not to take away from the importance of the game or the character, but it was literally like 13 lines. The session lasted under an hour, and I was like, whoop, out the door. And then like 3 or 4 years later, this game explodes into like tournaments and conventions like based around it, and like these characters, and my character Ash is one of the first, you know, original characters and like a tutorial character. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting dynamic of putting not so little. My heart was in it. The performance was fun and great to do, but it was just like, you know, this little thing, just showing the different levels of the games industry. And someone just mentioned
Yeah.
Overwatch. It's kind of similar probably, because in Overwatch they probably have like a rotating like 20 lines of shooting out like one-liners like, ha ha, got my back, I'll get your
Yeah.
back. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
did
Like,
World of Warcraft was the first game I ever did, and I was with the Blood Elf,
that's
and
cool.
it was a job that I found myself off Craigslist and
Mm.
then became like
What?
this huge thing. It was like the female Blood Elf. People would be like,
Wow.
"Whoa."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just it was a very short, like maybe a 2 hour session, and
right.
yeah, and then but then it comes down to who plays it. I mean,
Right.
how many people are playing it?
Well, and that's really cool. And again, with Ash, it's
Yeah.
super honored to carry on like a character for so many years. I mean, there was a huge time span between recording new content for her. But then in the last like 4 years or so, I've been in the studio quite a bit, and they've built on her character, and it's I mean, that's just too cool to be able to reprise a character after that many years. That was way before The Walking Dead, so it's been like 10, at least 10, way. You know, 10, I don't know, it's been a long ass time. So it's been really cool to, and I
Wow.
have been to like League related events, and it's really, it's awesome to see the the fandomonium.
Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Not like Space Racers.
I know, what's up with that? I love space
I
racers.
know. But
I
yeah.
mean, I guess part of the preciousness of that
Star
series.
signs.
Did you sing that song?
Yeah,
With
totally.
me?
With you. Is that you? Yeah.
Me? Was it just, I
Yeah.
guess it was just us. Yeah.
It was just us. Being in the studio with actors doing animation and doing ensemble work was, I mean, that was just, I had the best time ever recording on the first season. The second season, they cut me off. You and
They
Yuri
cut you
and,
off?
well, yeah, you guys would go in and do your stuff, and then I'd come in. I'm like, "Where's everybody else?" And
Oh,
Starling was recording her stuff
not the group.
separately. Yeah,
It'd be
no,
like,
it's
we
awful.
can get you in and out in 30 minutes. You
Yeah.
don't need to.
Right.
That was fun working with Yuri and Yuri Lowenthal and Johnny Bosch and
Yeah.
Meyer.
Mark. I always want to
Mark
say
Risley.
Risley, but it's Risley.
I I don't feel
Love
so bad
him.
about Hutchinson. I know I meant to text Mark, not that he's on social media,
No.
to be like, Melissa and I are definitely going to be talking about you tonight. You should jump on.
He's the
Mark
best.
Leslie, he's the best. He directed Yokai Watch, Space Racers, The Mr. Men Show. What else
Yep.
did we work on with him?
I think that's it for. Oh, well, no, I did this new thing coming out, Fairy Tale Forest,
Retail
eventually coming
Forest.
out. It was like, I mean, just, a
Interesting.
super fun little part, but it was, Mel Brooks and Jane Lynch and, all the amazing characters. Keep your eye out. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It was fun. And he directed it.
Yes, that is some good stuff. Mark Leslie. What do you have any like embarrassing stories to share in the booth?
Oh God. Thankfully not too bad.
Uh-huh.
There was that one time I peed my pants. No, I thankfully don't have anything too horrible. There was one
Yeah.
actual, it was a Walking Dead session, and we would break for lunch, and I got like a quinoa bowl or something. And I swear to God, this is the problem with voiceover people. And Roger L. Jackson, I remember
Oh,
lunch or whatever, and he's like, no, 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 it'll make my stomach. Did I come back?
yes, you're back.
Uh, anyways, I had a quinoa bowl, and then my stomach was like, I was just making these sounds where I was like, oh my God, oh my God. It was like nonstop, like, and so
That's
this is the
commitment,
thing.
not eating lunch
No,
just
I
to keep
ate
them
the
on the go.
quinoa.
No, for him.
Oh, for him. Oh, yeah, no, he was just like, I'm not gonna eat lunch because it'll. And I thought of him throughout that whole session. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Because my stomach, I kept having to be like, I'm sorry, you guys. Because the microphone, to those who don't understand, will pick up, like if you have like a frog in your throat or like your gurgle in your stomach, it picks it up. So it was like this nonstop,
Yeah.
like, it's just like, Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord.
Work with it. Make those into zombie
Yeah, I know. I
sounds.
should have been like, can we come in and lower the mic down to my actual stomach at this point? Because I am putting out some good content, folks. The
Um,
quinoa.
someone asked a really good question. Since you like to sing, do you play any instruments?
This is
Do any
where
covers or
I wish I was more like you. I don't. I mean, I can strum a guitar somewhat, and it's a little frustrating, and it's something I should work on because I do love to sing. And people are always like, "Oh, you should put out music." I'm like, "Well, I get
or
a carry or
just
just
find
acapella."
someone that can play for you, you know? I mean, it
Right,
does take a long time to learn guitar. It is a challenging instrument. Ukulele is
right.
a little easier, but still, I mean, you could always find someone to play for you
Yeah, that's
just to express
true.
yourself.
I have collaborated here and there.
Yeah.
But it is something that, like, I mean, singing beyond the race car driver, actress, veterinarian, being a singer was all. I mean, that's my background is musical theater, so I do. I mean, I still sing. I sing all the time, but to incorporate that into my career, and I have with certain
Star
projects. Yeah.
signs.
Yes, and I have, thankfully. But I there's a soul connection to my self wanting to be a singer as well. So yes, but I don't play an instrument.
Well, life is long,
Like yes,
hopefully.
hopefully,
Hopefully.
thankfully, and
Um,
gratefully.
yeah. Oh, gratefully.
Yeah.
Drink.
Oh, shoot. Well, I'm
You're all
gone.
laughing. You
Any
have some. You want
maple to
me to
go?
send Jason and Bodie over
Yes,
there to make you another
please.
cocktail?
It's like an hour
Um,
flight.
yeah, well, maybe we could work on a duet someday.
I would love that. I would absolutely love
That would
that.
be so fun. When you get
We've
back
already
down,
done it. We should.
yeah, in the studio, but we could record something live. That would be super fun.
That would be super fun. And you're a songwriter. You write. So, I mean, not saying that I can't or don't, but I don't. So, if
You
you could feel
can.
that one.
You know,
Right.
it just comes down to creating the space and clearing your plate to see what comes up. And I bet you could write some amazing songs. The
Yeah.
thing is, I think we all set a really high bar for ourselves.
Right.
And whenever I think about the bar that I set for myself, I think of all the songs that I've written that I don't want to share because I don't think they're good enough. And I think
Right.
starting to shift the way I feel about that, because with social media, I mean, you can put a picture of yourself doing anything and feel like,
Sure.
whatever. So I want to start doing more like song sketches where it's just like,
Yeah.
here's something from my heart that's just a little sketch,
Yeah.
and not think that it has to come out fully fleshed out, because this is really
Right.
the medium for it. Let's see. Who do you voice on Star Wars Squadrons? Is that a question for me? I think probably, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
I
did I? Hold on, let me Google myself.
I play a leader on the New Republic side. So
Which is
I'm
awesome.
an X-Wing pilot leader on the New
Nice.
Republic side. Yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah, that just came out,
I
right?
think,
Like
yes,
last
like
week or
yes, last week. So finally my dad will be proud. Is J.R.S. Stewart, that's not Jeff Stewart, is it? J.R. Stewart 03. Jeff Stewart is an animator and voice actor that actually played Mr. Tickle on the Mr. Men show. Somebody
Yay.
needs a tickle. I don't know if that's actually him or it's just like a similar username, but Melissa, did you ever work with Michael Madsen? That's really cool.
no, alas and unfortunately, especially in the games, the ensemble recordings they don't really happen. So Michael Madsen recorded all of his lines separately. Never got to meet him, but he did an amazing job, obviously, as Carver. So it was cool working with him. He recorded his lines before me, so I at least got to hear them piped into my headphones during the recording sessions. So technically, I worked off of Michael Madsen, but no, I never got to meet him. Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't get to meet a lot of the people that worked in season 2 and 3 and 4, honestly. This is crazy. I'm just going to blow some
Party.
minds right now for the Walking Dead fans. I never met Taylor Parks, who plays AJ. That's Bonkersville. Like, literally, that was the closest, besides Lee and Clem. Dave Fennoy and I are amazing friends, but I never met the actress who plays AJ, and she did a phenomenal job. I'll leave it at that.
Someone would like us to brainstorm some ideas for Clementine tattoos.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh God. I just saw a Clem tattoo on Twitter today. It was amazing, amazing work.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
How
I've
does it feel to
seen
have someone have a tattoo of your character?
pretty freaking awesome. Somebody actually got one of Clementine's face, and then I had met them in England in London at a convention, and they got my autograph like on top of it. It was pretty.
Tattooed?
Yeah. But the portrait work they had done was phenomenal. Got a tattoo
Wow.
idea? I mean, it's Clem, so like her hat, obviously, just that her hat is so symbolic. Still not bitten, but that's something you're like, what does that mean, dude? Like, whoa, come on, still not bitten. I don't know. I don't know. That's a lot. Let me think on that, and I'll try to like respond somehow somewhere else. I don't know. That's a lot of pressure. A tattoo.
That's amazing. Which Clem moment was your favorite?
Oh God. You know, as sad as it was and as traumatic as it was probably that final episode between Dave Fennoy and myself. I might have to unplug my headphones here. I hope I don't screw anything up, but I have to charge my phone.
I don't think you will.
Can you still hear me?
You sound
Is
great.
this totally crappy? It's good. Let me
It's
take
fine.
these out. The final episode of season 1, episode 5, and again, I won't spoil it in case people haven't seen it, but that scene between Clem and Lee was, God, just one of the most phenomenal experiences of my life in a studio, and getting to, you know, feel that emotion as a character. It's once in a lifetime, maybe not once in a lifetime, but definitely just, I would say that's probably the most insanely like prominent thing I think of when I think of voicing Clem.
This question's come through a few times. Was there one particular age that was the hardest of Clem to voice?
The only thing that was difficult, no, her voice it sits in a place in my throat that's really comfortable. If you do like really cartoony girls or like, hey, I'm a boy, you're like, ugh, you're pushing and you're like straining. Clem, like literally from this age all the way to this age, she resides in this really comfortable place in my throat. Can I explain it? You probably get it. But between seasons 1 and 2, I think Telltale and the powers that be were kind of freaking out about like, all right, we need to show that she's aged but it's only been a couple years, but she's lived a really horrible life. And I mean, that process, I think I sent them like 16 different versions of what Clem would sound like between being 9 years old and 12 years old. And I remember people getting in touch with me being like, hey, this is really important, we got to lock this down. Like, and I'm like, why are you gonna recast me? Like, what's happening? Otherwise, I mean, after
that does happen.
And as it turns out, that could have been a possibility. But no, that was the most stressful transition, but it was never like vocally. It was just more like locking in. And once I locked into season 2, Clem, and 3, and I mean, it just, so there's that.
Well, I'm going to just take a couple more questions and then we're going to have to round it up because
it's midnight.
it's past midnight somewhere.
Yeah.
I did have one more. It's just amazing how many people resonate and feel such a strong emotional connection to the character, which I just have to acknowledge you for that. How awesome that is that you can have that reaction in people. So I guess, I think it's really interesting. It's funny because do you remember the first time we met?
Was it not at Raleigh Studios?
Probably, yeah.
Space Racers?
Space Racers?
I'm sure.
Probably. And how did you know, how did you get cast on that show? Was that through Stars too?
I was through Stars.
And through Mark Risley, so it's just like.
Yeah, he was, and that was cool because I was at that point, that was literally at the time where I was wanting to shift down to Los Angeles. I got that audition through San Francisco, and I came down for the callback, and like that night, I got the call that I got the gig, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, talk about like pivotal, important moments. But I don't think I met you. I definitely didn't meet you that day. I think it was like our first, I'm pretty sure the first session was like all of us together. So I think that's when we met. I can't even tell you the year.
Oh my gosh, I so miss those guys. That was such a fun show to work on.
So good.
Yeah, can you tell us anything about projects you're currently working on?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the whole voice of, well, I would, but then you'd have to kill me. Unfortunately, gosh, is there anything? No, I mean, just in the range of things, there was a Lexus spot that I got to do, which was cool. So if you ever watched a Lexus commercial where there's like this super awesome convertible sports car and you gotta listen quick, because my line was literally, be back before, and then there's a kid, I know, before dark. So that be back before, yeah, that
the
was
mom. So you were the mom playing against type from your usual.
Which is so great.
That's great. You're usually the kid.
There are some other projects that are coming up, but it's fun. I can't really, unfortunately, talk about them. But it's interesting because the character work, the game work, all of it is amazing. But it's also super awesome to work in, national commercials. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And it seems more and more commercials are demoing and not necessarily, they're just like demoing everything and testing because we just don't know what people are buying anymore. So
I was honestly surprised this one came out, but it was it's an inspirational car ad of like getting out. It's not like they're driving into like a concert. where there's thousands of people. I mean, it was one of these like freedom in your own car things, but no, with the COVIDs and all that, yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a weird. Oh.
I know. And then the way to book, it's like we kind of started talking about the pandemic, but just to kind of wrap things up, do you have any words of inspiration for people that are out there, things that maybe have inspired you, or words you can leave us with?
Oh gosh, I should have prepared for this. You know, I mean, I kind of just throw it back to, you know, one of the things that I try to retain throughout my life, whether it be with my career or my health or just goals that I visualize for myself. I don't hate the expression fake it till you make it, but there is something to like, whatever situation you want to call into your life, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be inspired by, just, I have personally found it just so important and just a huge, what's the word, functionality of how I've gotten to where I'm at by visualizing what I want, writing about it, like just seeing yourself doing what you want to do or being in the space that you want to be in, and just make that a daily practice. And that's been, and for mental health, that's been amazing. For career, that's been amazing. Just everyday life, it's been an amazing practice that I've really put work into adopting.
Yeah. Are there any particular books that you read that got you started on that, or any?
There are a few. Oh my God, what comes to mind right now? There's geez, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Hold on, it's right here in front of me. There's one. Ask and it is given.
Abraham Hicks, yeah.
Esther and Jerry Hicks.
Oh yes.
Are you familiar with that one?
Oh yes.
Yeah. That is definitely one of the, I mean, anything that's, you know, you throw out books like The Secret, which I think it's amazing. People might shut it down, but I mean, really, we have the power to visualize what we want in our lives. And if we put that energy and that intention and paint that picture for ourselves, then it can happen. I am a shining example. Now, I'm not saying that my life is perfect, and I definitely have days where I have to fight my own negativity but I've personally found that to be an amazing practice that's gotten me through some interesting times and some amazing and going forward.
And that is really the practice of focusing on what you want to create in your life instead of focusing on either where you're at or the negative in the situation, which naturally attracts those good things to you. So
totally. Yes.
I'm also a disciple from the I think even just as a science-based kind of literal person at times too, both creative, spiritual, and realist, literal. I mean, even from a realist, literal perspective, when you create a sense of joy and happiness and gratitude with your life, then you're bringing that energy every day. You're happy to go to work instead of being like, bringing that kind of like judgment towards everything. But I think it's an ongoing practice.
Oh, sure.
It's easy enough to get off track, but
yeah, and again, sometimes easier said than done. I don't wake up every day like life is perfect and beautiful and yay. I mean, it can be a struggle to. I just find that if I'm starting, especially these days, kids, if you're starting to spin out, just think of anything that makes you happy and grateful, like vanilla ice cream, my dog. I mean, just anything, if you can flip that switch from going from the negative to just anything, this shirt, I love this shirt, whatever, just say something, that you're grateful for. And it's kind of magic how your brain starts to click out of that space of like, oh shit, into like, oh, okay, got this. Yeah.
Melissa, we could talk all
I
night.
know,
I'm having so
Charlie.
much fun,
I can take this
but
with me to the kitchen and
I really have to pee and
yeah, no,
that.
no, no. I know. Well, this is what we get for not hanging out for way too long.
I
It's
know. Well,
yeah,
first of all, when you get back to LA, we should definitely do a social distance
for
hang,
sure.
and maybe we can have you back in a few months because
Would
people
love
have
that.
tons of questions that we haven't gotten to. For anybody that's just tuning in, this show is called Alicyn's Wonderland. Every week, we interview someone that works in animation or video games, everything from show creators to voice actors, storyboard artists, animators. We really take a broad picture of the whole industry. So please follow me and then my IGTV. We do this every week. So come hang out. We would love to see you on here. And Melissa,
Yay. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone that's out there. I love you so much. Seriously, thank you so much for writing in. And if I could reach out and hug every single one of you, I would. I'm doing that right now. I swear. And you too, Ellie. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
is it awkward yet? What about
Yeah,
now?
no, it never will be.
I love you.
Love you too. I will be talking to you soon, and I will see you soon in person, and we will cheers and clink a glass. I'll like reach over and like breathe that way, whatever. However, we'll use those like garage
Perfect.
tongs to like cheers from 6 feet apart.
Yes, exactly. I love you, girly.
I love you too. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody. See
Bye.
you soon.